Afternoon, everyone. Today, I I'm really excited because I just signed a contract with a venue to host my very first relationship boot camp. This is a 2-day workshop. It's going to be held in Annapolis, Maryland in October 19th and 20th, actually. And I'm super excited because October in Maryland is a really fabulous time weather-wise. And Annapolis is just this amazing gem of a city that we have here in Maryland, with all of the Naval Academy and, of course, the water and the sailboats and the fabulous shops and restaurants that are easily walkable. It's a really just quaint, welcoming city to have a fall getaway weekend with your significant other or by yourself. And so, super excited to be able to announce that to all of you. The information will be going up soon on my website, so keep an eye out for that. We are only going to accept 24 students or attendees at the event because we want to keep it intimate and connected, and keeping it on the smaller side helps us do that. And I'm going to be hosting it with my absolutely fabulous colleague, Katherine Petzold. What's really cool about her, first, she's an amazing therapist, but in her previous career, she was a singer-songwriter and she traveled the world performing at five-star hotels. And she has a dynamic personality, balanced by my sort of slower, softer personality. And not that she's not soft, like we're both soft, but she's really vivacious and outgoing. And I tend to be a bit more of an introvert. And the dynamic between the two of us is going to be really special for you, those of you who sign up to attend the 2 days with us, to learn the essential skills of doing relationships in a healthier, happier way. The workshop is based on our training as relational life therapists, a relational life therapy created by Terry Real. As many of you know, he wrote the book, I Don't Want to Talk About It, which is the seminal book on male depression. He also wrote How Can I Get Through to You, which is more the perspective of being able to get through to your partner, speaking up for yourself, and doing it in a way that makes it more likely that you'll be heard, as well as his most recent book, Us, which is really more about relational living as opposed to independence and autonomy and rugged individualism, which our country is based on. So this is not an ad for Terry Real, but he does inform a lot of the work that I do these days. And so I do have a link where you can sign up to say, hey, I'm interested in attending the workshop in October. It's not but it does let me know that you want to be the first to hear when registration opens. And I will be sending the registration link out to you are on that list first. So just so you'll know, I will be getting all of that information up on my website. Again, October 19th and 20th in Annapolis, we're going to have this amazing workshop for you. So, hi, Laura. Thank you for joining us today in the conversation. If you are open to it, let me know you can hear me, and we'll go forward from there. You don't have
I
to.
can hear you. I can hear you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And I'm excited to have this conversation with you. You posed a question to me, and I am happy to answer it, which I had planned to do, whether you were here or not. So this is even better. We get to really put some color to it, make it technicolor, and hear from you exactly what your question is. So let me just frame it up for everybody, if that's all right, Laura, and then you can expand on it. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So my understanding is that you've been single after divorce and been single for a while and are just starting now to talk with somebody who you are interested in perhaps having a relationship with and wanting to know about, well, do I have to date multiple people? Um, and perhaps, as you have said in your question, you tend to get too serious too quickly. And it sounds like maybe you don't want to have that happen this time. Am I getting that right? And how would you add to your question?
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, I really just am not dating at all, and I am just really curious because it seems like, especially in my age group, people are really focused on either dating multiple people or there's just a lot of negativity in relationships after being divorced, particularly from women, like not wanting to be in these serious relationships. And I'm just such a traditional, like, you find someone, you meet them, you marry them. That's why I've been married twice. So I'm just kind of interested to hear a little bit more about, dating as like older adult, being single in this environment. And yeah, like I'm pretty sure I want to stick to my guns of not dating multiple people, but I also am trying not to just jump into marrying another person.
Holding both of those truths for yourself at the same time is perfectly reasonable. And knowing that you know yourself is so important. Like knowing, hey, dating multiple people just is not for me. Uh, that matters more than what anyone else is doing. Um, And you mentioned something about how dating is now, and particularly the negativity around it from women, perhaps that you chat with about it. And tell me a little bit more about how it's different now compared to the other times that you found yourself in that dating phase of life. I have some ideas of my own, but tell me what your experience is.
I was actually sitting at a table with my children.
And you have some privacy now?
Well, I'm in another room, but it just was a little awkward for them, as you can imagine. I really am just not a dater. I met my kid's father on a blind date and pretty much got engaged 4 months later and then got married and stayed married until we were getting divorced. And I met husband number two and dated no one else and got married and stayed married. So, and out of high school, I joined the convent. I also see value in not just trying to start a very serious relationship with the very next person that I like. And it seems challenging to not get too serious and also not date multiple people. Like it's interesting. And I'm also not a person that's just going to have sex. Like that's not, I know a lot of people my age that are just sort of out there and just trying to have fun. And that's really not my thing either. I mean, having fun is my thing, but not in that way.
Sure, sure. There's lots of different ways to have fun and have sex, right? When I hear you say those things, it makes me want to help you figure out, well, what does dating mean? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for you, Laura? What does dating mean? Because it doesn't have to be defined by what, everybody else is saying dating is, but what is it for you? Is it just to meet a variety of people, whether they become romantic interests or not? Is it solely for finding a romantic interest, like for the end goal? Is it to be chosen, or is it for you to choose? Right? Answering some of these kinds of questions for yourself around what exactly is this dating thing. For centuries, people partnered up and got married, but really dating is a fairly new phenomenon. It's really only been around the last 100 years when we think of the Industrial Revolution and children leaving home, leaving their neighborhoods to go off and find work and things like that. And uh, whereas before that, there really wasn't dating. as we think of it today. When you think of dating and what it means for you in particular, what comes to mind?
I do meet people all the time, and I find that I'm picking up a lot of male friends who I have no desire to be in any more of a relationship with. And I also don't really need more male friends. It's been interesting to try to figure out that balance of sort of meeting someone out and about organically and then saying, no, I don't want to go on a date with you. And I don't need you as a friend. It's been a challenge to not feel like I'm being bitchy for saying like, no, no, thanks. I don't want your contact information. I don't want to follow up with you. I don't want to be your friend and I don't want to date you. There's that. And like learning like those sorts of boundaries and that just because I'm nice doesn't mean I have to say yes. I have been trying to join groups to do things that I'd like to do, which sounds pleasant. However, everything seems to be about dating. Like I joined these hiking groups and they seem much more like dating sites than really about going for a hike. So
Okay.
it's been a turnoff to me because I am not just searching for the next guy. I am very content and happy. And if I end up in a relationship with someone that is intimate and becomes romantic, that's fine. But like I don't need a husband. I don't need a father for my children. I don't need a best friend. Like if that happens, great. But and I'm not against it. It's just I'm not like actively trying to pursue something. And I feel like so many people either are really pursuing men and women or are very rejecting. And I'm just trying to find some balance in there.
Okay. So it's polarizing, right? Like it's either it's really, as you said, really trying to date, and the hiking group is kind of just a pretend for hiking and really more for dating, or have people have had such negative experiences they're shut down from
Mhm.
connection.
The hiking group, it's kind of like the book club that really is just a cover for the drinking, the wine club.
And so I hear you describing what you know you don't want. What do you want?
So, like I said, I have good friends, which is wonderful, men and male and female friends. And I have great relationships with my children and I like my work and I have learned in the past year to like hanging out with myself, which is all great. However, I do think that there are some things that I have enjoyed being married to my two husbands different at different times. And I like the idea of being that intimate and close to someone that is more than just a best friend and also a best friend. I mean, I like the idea. I'm not opposed in any way to being in a relationship, but I feel like I have to be so careful because I am so likely to just sort of put all my eggs in one basket if there is somebody that I like very
Okay.
quickly. And
Okay.
I'm not sure how to have all the boundaries and to like do all the things and also maybe be okay that I'm not ready to say, yes, let's be monogamous. And yet I'm probably going to be monogamous while the other person might not be
Okay.
because they're a normal person who dates multiple people until they find someone is serious. Like I'm not sure how to manage that.
Well, it seems to me you clearly know who you are and what works for you. And that's normal too, right? Like just as dating multiple people is, choosing not to do that is normal too. Just want to make sure that you see it that way too.
Yeah, I guess I feel like an oddity often because like
Okay.
I'm a little old fashioned. I feel like this is going to become like a dating video now. I'm not looking for a knight in shining armor. I'm not looking for
Mhm.
someone to sweep me off my feet. I'm looking for someone who wants to be in an intellectual, connected, spiritual, physical relationship with someone who also likes themselves and knows who they are, who just wants to also do that in conjunction with someone else. And I think as a younger person and before I learned to like me and love me, I was looking for more complete me and help me. And now I'm just like, no, no, no. Like I am complete. And it would be nice to have you alongside of me so that we can, you know, be the entourage together, but not I don't need someone to try to fill me up.
So if we shifted the question to be something slightly different to help you with this dilemma of like, how do I manage this and how do I have that boundary, knowing myself, knowing that I may tend to um, just dive in too quickly, get serious too quickly. What is it that you know works for you when it comes to who the other person is? Like, how would you know that this person is someone I would want to have that uh, intimate, connected companionship side by side with? What are the qualities of that person or the experiences you have with that person that inform you of that and really get help you know, yeah, this is the person.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And what comes to mind first is all of the things that don't, all of the no's, all of the
Right.
flags that are like, yep, not this person. Uh, so I am a very spiritual person. My relationship with God is really important to me. And I have learned over the past year, I've been very single over the past year. Um, and I have realized that when I meet people, male and female, which I mean, I'm interested in dating men, but when I just meet people, generally, even as friends, girlfriends, uh, having some type of belief in something greater than myself, that they don't have to have the same religion as me. They don't have to have, it can be, Mother Earth, but it's very, very important to me that someone that I share my life with, share my space with, share my time with, have a belief in something bigger than just themselves. That
Okay.
I have come to realize as I tried to befriend and talk to more people that I just have a really hard time with the like, no, it's only me, it's all me, and then I die. And it's hard for me. Are you really being loving and sharing kindness? And then I decided, you know what? This is important to me. It's okay. I don't have to be friends with everybody. As a nurse, sometimes I think that's hard because I do think I have to save everybody in some way. So, um, so that's a
Yeah,
big.
you're very giving and caring and compassionate in that way.
Mhm. And then I think that I really want to have intellectual conversations. Does a person that I'm talking to, friend or potential boyfriend, have to have a master's degree or have a degree? No, it can be street smart, but they have to be somebody that wants to have spirited conversations about opinions and be willing to disagree about things and know that it's okay. Like we are not, I want to have that discourse. Like I find it energizing, and hopefully we don't disagree about everything. But like I think that's somebody that has an opinion that really matters to me
Right.
because I have an opinion.
Okay.
And and then the other really really big thing besides like I'm going to say the obvious, but I guess it's not obvious to everyone. Is my family is very important. My children are very important to me. So just even though I mean, they both just graduated, one from high school, one from college, but still they're
Fabulous.
very
Congratulations.
important to me. And I'm a crazy outdoors person. Like I like
Mhm.
outdoors and physical activity. So I have met someone like again in the past year who is like an inside person who likes the dark and likes being inside and like goes to the gym, but everything is inside. And although I thought this is a beautiful, nice person, but like this is not a person for me because everything about me is open the blinds, let the light in, go outside. So if I were to be in a serious relationship with someone who is like, I like the dark, I want it closed, like that's probably not a that yes, that's yin and yang, but it's not a good balance for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I have, figured out some of these core things. I'm not interested that someone is exactly like me. They don't have to read the same books. They don't have to love to dance, even though I'm obsessed with dancing. Because there's a balance, and they don't need, like, I think I in my second marriage, which is the marriage where I was really the most opened up in my heart. Um, I really did think that that person was going to fulfill all of my needs. And I've learned that nope, that's only up to me, and that I can choose to have lots of different people helping to fill all those different passions, and it's really wonderful. A male partner is just another part of that. I'm learning a lot and hearing a lot about people having healthy like sex relationships with multiple people, and again, I'm just old fashioned. I don't want to judge other people for doing it, but it's just not for me.
It's it's so good that you know what is for you and what is not for you. And I hear you say several times, like, it's okay if it's for other people. I just know it's not for me. And that's a healthy place to be, right? Like you said, if I were judging them, if I were like, oh, looking down on them, I'm better than that because I don't want that. Well, that wouldn't be such a healthy place to come from. But you can set a boundary for yourself. You can set limits for yourself and say, this is for me and that's not for me. And not come from a place of judgment. That's really a place of health that I hear you speaking about it from. But the dilemma seems to be not so much not knowing what you want, because clearly there are some aspects of a relationship that needs to be there for you to choose to engage in it and put your energy into it. The dilemma seems to be more about how do I find this person? How do I find these people? How do I um, be open to connection with multiple people, which doesn't necessarily mean dating multiple people? When I put it that way, what comes to mind?
Yeah, that I think is it's I so easily connect with people. I like when asked at networking events what my superpower is, I'm like connecting people, and um I feel like probably because of my relationship with God, honestly, like I feel like people are just attracted to me because they feel a light, they feel an energy, and so I'm blessed to have lots of people interacting and connecting with me in my life, and discerning the ones that I might want to get to know more, like discerning better rather than spending time. I don't want to call it wasting time because I don't think any interaction is a waste of time, but spending time, focus time on the people that maybe aren't right for me is something I think I kind of worked through some of that this past summer a little bit more, and I got better at pretty quickly, like even if I said yes to someone and talked to them a tiny bit, pretty quickly saying, you know what, like you're nice and all, but just I'm just not there. Uh,
Yeah. How did you do that? How did you come to be more discerning? What worked? What helped?
Two of my girlfriends actually were a little forceful, honestly, but it helped in the end. And
That's
they're
right.
like forceful, like you don't like this person, like why are you even like taking the text? Like just tell them you're not interested. This is a waste of your time. And because I'm not about like I don't want to just go out to dinner to get a free meal. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend time with people that adding value.
From what you're
Yeah.
saying, there was a time when perhaps you wouldn't turn them down out of concern for how that would impact them, as opposed to how it was not how you wanted to spend your time and energy.
Yes. Exactly.
In other
Yeah.
words,
Too much.
putting their feelings before your own.
Absolutely. And so
Yeah,
I feel like I'm more aware of that now, and more aware of just noticing and choosing and remembering that I do get to choose. And
yeah,
especially because, again, I'm not opposed to a relationship. I just don't need a relationship, which is such a different perspective. Sometimes I feel sorry for some of the other people in my life that just haven't come to this place, which, life is up and down. I am not perfect, and I could have, you know, weeks coming where I might not feel the same way. But I feel so grateful to be comfortable with myself and with my place in the world today. And so anything else that's coming in is just to add good and value, not to deter from and not out of need.
beautiful. I don't want to spend that much time with this person. I don't have the interest and energy, and they are not who I choose. And I get to decide that, trusting that and acting on
Yeah, all of us, I'm not a therapist, are plagued by our generational influence. And I am no exception, plagued by uh, what my mother has come down, which is probably why I even got married the first time, and stayed married the second time. Even now, as a single person who feels really healthy, I hear uh, that I'm going to end up alone, that I'm being too picky, that if I keep saying no to everybody, there's going to be nobody. God has brought other friends into my life who are more encouraging than some of the
it.
other influences, which is mostly my mother. My mother is just speaking out of her fear and her concern for me. Like, I know she's not
Sure.
trying to hurt me, and I'm not blaming her, but that is what has been there. Am I being too picky? Like, is she right? Am I refusing everybody? Do I think I'm so great that nobody's good enough? And clearly that's not true. But that goes.
You bring up something that I think none of us escape, which are the messages from the families we grew up in, the culture we live in. The beauty is some of those messages are coming from a place of fear and worry and concern, working through to the other side of that so as to date or meet or connect with people not out of fear, worry, or concern, but out of strength, warmth, connection, and abundance. Get ready for this, Laura. Let's see how this hits you. When we move away from those messages that we grew up with, to do something different, to operate from a different frame, part of what we do is leave behind our parents for the opportunity to be happier than they were. And that can cause some grief and cause some conflict internally. How can I really do that?
Mm.
Right? Is it okay for me to do that? Am I betraying them when I do that? Because I value and I learned a lot from the family I grew up in, from mom, other people who influence you. And so it's a way of stepping away from that, moving on from that. And there can be some grief and around that. So what's it like to hear that?
Many years ago, when I was going through counseling and choosing to divorce the father of my children, I I got into some deep work surrounding my mother and my relationship with my mother. So this is like 15 years ago now. If you had said this then, I rejected it, did not like it. I have detached a lot. So even though some of these thoughts still come back now, it was about 15 years ago that I started the detaching process and realizing that I had my own separate identity, and that everything my mother had sort of taught me out of her fear wasn't necessarily the truth. It was true for her, but it wasn't the truth. And that I had the opportunity to figure out what was true for me. What impacts me more today is like those things, they come up, but I am quickly able to sort of just notice them and sort of let them go, which I'm grateful for. It's more that I think about what messages I have been sharing and passing down through the generations to my daughter
To your
and to my
children.
son, and watching them as they consider relationships, and making sure that I talk with them about what I've been learning and about my growth, so that hopefully they don't have as much of the same as what I have. And just having that open communication. I think not being afraid, even with any new person that I might talk to, not being afraid to just be authentically who I am, flaws and all, old fashioned thoughts and all. Like, okay, maybe I look cool because I'm a cannabis nurse, but guess what? I'm also pretty old fashioned. Okay, that's who I am. The only way that I'm ever going to be in a healthy relationship with another human being, including in a romantic relationship with a male, is just to be able to be authentically me.
Beautifully stated that to be in a healthy relationship with others, we also need to be in a healthy relationship with ourselves. And that means knowing who we really are and that authenticity that you talk about. I am not of the belief that I have to go off and find out who I am on my own in order to be in a relationship. I think we learn who we are through relationships from literally day one. When you think about the things you are imparting to and teaching your children, how does it help you with this dilemma that you brought here today?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, because I see in my children, they have different, I'm trained as a nurse, but I have done a lot of reading, about attachment styles and all these things, trying to learn about myself. And I can see the difference in my two children, and their potentially attachment styles to people, related to how they've watched and grown up with me, with their dad and with their stepdad. And especially for my daughter, to not see me being so afraid of being alone, and to see me sticking up for myself, and wanting something that fits my needs, not because I'm needy, but particularly like the idea of being with someone who cherishes their time with me. I wish that for everyone. I wish for everyone I knew to experience a relationship with anyone that uh, allows you to feel so special and cherished. Like, that time is really important, and I think we don't have enough of that, and that's what I want for them. So I'm trying to figure that out. And this one person that I did just start kind of getting to know and talking to, I did share that, and it's interesting because I think that he appreciates the idea, and I do feel really special when we're talking. And at the same time, I know that he is dating other people, because he was dating other people when we met. And I am in no way ready to say don't date other people, because I'm still trying to figure out if I want to spend more time with him.
Sure.
And then that's kind of weird to me. But I do feel important. Like, when he reaches out or when we talk, I feel important. And that's good enough for me for now.
I think you found your answer, right? You know the boundaries for yourself. I'm going to invest my time with one person at a time because that's authentic to me. That's what I need. That's what works for me. That doesn't mean you're going to impose that on the other person until you're ready to ask for that need, and at which point he may come through for you and he may not. That's the risk we take of being in relationships.
Exactly.
We ask for our needs to be met. They may come through and they may not. That's vulnerability. You don't need to pressure yourself to date lots of people because everybody else says. You know what works for you. You know what you need. You know how you want to spend your energy and time. Honor that.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. It's when you posed this session and when I posed my question, I kind of already felt like I knew how I felt.
Yeah, you
And
said it in what you sent to
talking to
me. You wrote it.
talking to you and being validated externally, it does matter. It's helpful. Like it just, even though we're not like best friends, having you listen and let me and ask some questions and let me express what I'm thinking and feeling, it really like it does just kind of sink it in more. It's helpful. It really is helpful. I appreciate the validation, especially to speak to someone who's not like a family member about it or a best friend about it in words. That I feel that so often with my patients. Sometimes just being able to talk about it helps. Like I do nothing except for validate, but then they start to feel better. And that's sort of is
Absolutely.
a gift that you gave me today. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for sharing that perspective and putting out how this has been helpful to you. It means a lot to me. It's why I'm doing this. It's why I'm just saying, hey, jump on with me, let's chat. And I think what you just described is a beautiful way of expressing why we all long for connection. We are born to be in connection. Another person's presence without words at times is very soothing. No one has to fix it. I didn't come up with an answer for you. No one had to make anything happen here. We just connected, validated, explored, and I can see the ease that came over you when you were just saying, wow, I feel better about this. So thank you for sharing that with me
Mhm.
and with everyone here who will watch this. And I think this is a good place to sign on. Yeah. Thank you, Laura. I
Yes.
hope to see you
Yeah.
on here again with
Thank
any
you.
future questions.
I really
You're very
appreciate it. Thank
welcome.
you for your time.
You're very
All right. Bye.
Thanks. So there you have it. I didn't know I would be talking about dating. Free to email me with your questions, just like Laura bravely did. Thank you again, Laura, for um, bringing your question to me and being willing to discuss it so openly and warmly. I will see you all next month at our relationship conversation.